Welcome to episode 4 of the 2025-2026 season of John Jay Boys Basketball. On our podcast, my name is Robert Sipe. Today I'm joined with Coach Betcher and Coach Procaccino. Gentlemen, how you guys doing on a snowy Sunday in January?
Doing
Doing
good. Doing good.
doing
Oh,
good.
sorry. Didn't mean to cut you off there.
No,
Yeah,
we're good.
tough, Coach Betcher. I know you're a big Bills fan. So am I. And it was a tough loss last night. Heartbreaking. Poor
Yeah,
team, poor fans.
it's just starting to feel like just deja vu over and over. Every
Yeah, yeah.
January Sundays or Mondays are getting,
Yeah, it's tough.
getting
It's
tough.
tough. And with our basketball team, we sort of had a tough week as well. We started out at home against Ramapo, and that game went pretty well. And then Wednesday, we traveled to New Rochelle, and we got trounced. And then Friday, we played home against Poughkeepsie. So we'll talk about all three of those games. Let's start first with the Ramapo game. After three quarters, we were winning 52-27. But they made it close in the fourth quarter. And a big story of that game, I think, is we had 25 turnovers in that game, and we were 4 for 14 from the free throw line. But we did out rebound them 33 to 17. And like I say, we were up pretty big, up 25 after three quarters. So we had tried to get some other guys in to play a little bit, and it sort of backfired on us. They upped their press and upped their energy, and we had to rotate some of our starters back in. But a win is a win, and we'll certainly take it. So we were able to sweep the series with Ramapo, beat them at Ramapo, and beat them at home. So that was always it's always a good thing. Talk to me about that game. You guys have any thoughts on that game? Any memories?
I mean, I thought we started off the game. I think we went up. I think 18-0 to start the game, right?
That's
Where
right. Good point. Yeah.
where we definitely had great energy. There was some great energy in the gym, and we definitely played at a high intensity. And we hit a lot of shots, and we turned. We basically our defense really committed a bunch. We allowed them for a bunch of turnovers on their end. So I think we transitioned a lot of fast breaks, and we literally looked at the score and it was 18-0 literally in the first 3 minutes, 4 minutes of the game, I believe. So our intensity levels definitely started off really high in that game, and then we kind of let off the steam a little bit, but pedal a little bit. But I thought we started off really hot, from what I remember.
Yeah, I think we just got a little careless and comfortable with our lead, and definitely got to clean up the turnovers. But overall, the intensity and being constantly on the ball and looking to score was good to see in that game, and kind of a good thing, good kind of pickup for us after taking some tough losses.
Yeah, and it's certainly a natural reaction, right, when a team goes up 18-0, to sort of, let the foot off the gas pedal a little bit. And the opposing team, obviously, playing with some pride. So wasn't too concerned about that. But you are right, Coach Broke. We definitely came out firing on all cylinders with a ton of good energy. And I really give our team and our kids credit because all season long, they've just continued to bring some really good energy, even in practice after the New Rochelle game on Thursday. I mean, we got trounced at New Rochelle, and I thought the energy was really good in practice that next day. So give a lot of credit to our players, for seemingly always bringing that energy, and it's certainly something we could have done by letting down, right? I mean, we had beaten Ramapo by 30 or 40 the first time we played them. So I was happy to see that we came out and, we weren't taking anything for granted and really playing with a lot of energy. Really happy with the rebound advantage, right? We out rebounded them 33-17, which is always good. And we shot 54% from the field. I mean, certainly some of that is, Ramapo's defense or lack thereof, but a lot of it sometimes is confidence just with our shooting for whatever reason. I feel like we get into the game, and on the offensive end, we're just not confident. Uh, you know, Taking good shots, right? You get an opportunity to get a good look at the basket. Why not shoot?
Yeah, and I thought we did a pretty good job of moving the basketball and our assists. I think we had 16 assists in that game compared to their 6, right? So I thought we did a really good job of distributing the ball, and I think we were pretty balanced on the offensive side of the ball as far as points, points for the for the kids. As far as a lot of kids had, 7 or more points or 10 or more points. We had a few guys score more than 10, which is always key for us. I feel like to get everyone to involved in the offense, which we've struggled with over the year.
Yeah, definitely true. Definitely true. All right, so a good home win against Ramapo, and then we head on the road to New Rochelle, and New Rochelle really, really, really took it to us. My memories of that game were that we really struggled with their 1-2-2 full court press. But as I look at the tape, we really didn't struggle too much with it. I mean, we didn't break it with ease. We weren't breaking it and getting scoring layups. I mean, anytime a team is pressing you, right, you want to score a couple of layups off of that press, and immediately it just backs them off of that, right, and gets them into a half court defense set. So we weren't doing that, but I don't think we turned the ball over until about 2 minutes to go in that first quarter. So my memory was they just absolutely blitzed us. But that was not the case as I watched that game film. We were only down 17-7 at the end of the first quarter, and we missed some makeable shots. So only being down 10 after the first quarter wasn't too bad. The problem was in that second quarter, they just continued to ramp up the pressure, and we could not deal with that press for whatever reason. We just couldn't get anybody in the middle of that zone press, and kept trying to go out wide and kept trying to go from one side of the court to the other with those long, skip passes, and they picked them off seemingly every single time in that second quarter. Outscored us 23-6 in that second quarter, and we went into the locker room, man, really bummed and really down at halftime, 40-13. So that was a tough one, tough game, very depressing game for me anyway.
Yeah, I mean, looking at some of the stats from that game, I think they had 52 points in the paint. We had 14. I mean, we got killed on the rebounding. I mean, they literally just dominated us on the offensive rebound. They would literally miss a shot and get another rebound, and they had 27 deflections compared to our 8. I mean, turnover wise, we had less turnovers in that game than we did in the Ramapo game, which is interesting to me. But I feel like every time we had a turnover, they had either a layup or a dunk coming the other way, which really hurt us.
Yeah, they were really good in transition. Very true.
Yeah, I was going to comment on that, and like Coach Procacino said, it felt like every ball they took away from us, they went down and scored. And it's probably where a good amount of their points in the paint came from. It's just transition layups that we really. I felt like they New Rochelle, that was probably the most defensive pressure we've played all year. We've played teams with a lot of defensive pressure, but I don't know if they just really brought it that game or I don't know, or we were just completely flat. But that it was just a lot for our guys to handle at the time. And once you fall behind, it's I think we got a little deflated and just kind of ran away from us.
Yeah, and just surprised that we didn't bring the energy that we typically bring, like we did against Ramapo, like we did in practice the next day against New Rochelle. For whatever reason, our guys just looked timid, intimidated, slow. I'm not too sure what the words are, but you're right, Proc. I'm looking at the stats here. They had 32 points in transition. We only had 4. They had 36 points off of our turnovers. We only had 7 points off of their turnovers. And like you said, they killed us on the boards, out rebounded us by 9 just on the offensive boards alone, 11 on the defensive board. So they outscored, they out rebounded us by 20 rebounds, and just really took it to us. And you're right, 22 turnovers in that New Rochelle game versus 25 in the Ramapo game. That absolutely shocks me. But that was a tough one. That was definitely a tough game. But I give our kids credit. Like I said, we came to practice on Thursday. The next day, I thought we had some really good energy. and we hosted Poughkeepsie on Friday. Poughkeepsie's a team that we haven't beaten in 30 plus years. And we didn't beat them on Friday either, lost 61 to 54. But we only turned the ball over 13. I thought we played well in that game. We only turned the ball over 13 times. I mean, you don't ever want to turn the ball over, but compared to the 20 plus turnovers that we had, in Ramapo and in New Rochelle, only 13 against Poughkeepsie is not bad. And we were up by 4 points going into that fourth quarter. But I have watched that fourth quarter a couple of times now. And there's nothing in particular that sticks out at me in that fourth quarter against Poughkeepsie other than their first three possessions was a three-pointer that they knocked down. Then number 4, who was fantastic. I think he had 30 points, right? He got to the rim and scored. And then the third possession, they had a three-pointer. So those first three possessions, they had 8 points, and took the lead. And from there, we struggled just to sort of hang on. We tried to keep it close, and we did, but just weren't able to get it done in that fourth quarter. I didn't realize. I know Austin had a bloody nose there. It was at the end of the third quarter, and he didn't play for the first 5 minutes of that fourth quarter. So that, not that would have helped us out on the 2 3-pointers that they would have hit, but guys getting to the rim. I mean, we lost our big guy in the middle there. Trying to discourage that stuff, and a disappointing loss. Although not as disappointing as New Rochelle, because at least we were competitive. The Poughkeepsie coach had a lot of praise for our players after the game. He was really, really impressed with how we played, how hard we played, how well we played.
Yeah, I thought we at a high level. I think some of our guys miss some shots that they're normally making in other games or other spots, right? And I think we have to be a little bit more confident on the offensive side of the ball. And when there's an opportunity to shoot, we have our shooters got to shoot, right? Can't pass up open looks because you missed the shot before that. If you're a scorer, you're a shooter. You got to continue to try to score. That's been our Achilles heel this year on the offensive side. So I mean, for us to be in that game late and not probably have our best offensive game, I thought we did everything we could to get us in that situation. We just we couldn't get over the hump there. So and they have really a couple of really good players on that team. They might have one of the best players in this area. I think Hero. I think he and number 4. They're very good basketball players, very quick and play the game.
I was say, Ford, he's just a fearless player, and we're not the only team. He's kind of eaten up a little bit. But yeah, and I was gonna make similar comments as Coach Broochino, just shooting the ball confidently down the stretch, and kind of really digging deep and winning those close games. It's tough because we've had a few of those close games slip away from us this year, but they're learning experiences. And in terms of our matchup, we scrimmaged Poughkeepsie earlier in the year, and scrimmages don't really matter too much, but I felt like we played with a lot more effort and intensity, and held them defensively way better in playing of the game. So.
Yeah, and I think part of that on the offensive end is I'm really sort of looking in the mirror here in terms of my substitutions patterns, and I'm not too sure why, but I feel like in the third quarter I very rarely substitute. I feel like once the game starts, 4 or 5 minutes into that first quarter, I'm rotating guys in, but for whatever reason, I don't know if I'm tensing up as a coach or if I'm getting nervous as a coach, but in that third quarter, I just feel like I don't really rotate guys in. And I just remember Boston, being out there the entire third quarter, and he had some tough defensive assignments, right? We were in man primarily the entire game. And, he's guarding, either 4 or some of their other very good basketball players. So he's really working his tail off. The kid's only a sophomore. For me to keep him out there the entire third quarter and then expect him in the fourth quarter, to be able to light it up from 3. I think I've got to do a better job of getting him out, getting him some rest, not only in the first half, but in the second half, so that in the fourth quarter, then, we can try to ride our our top guys and see if we can make a run and try to outscore them in that fourth quarter. In that fourth quarter, they outscored us 23-12. So definitely on my end, definitely thinking about in the future, making sure that early in that third quarter, we rotate some guys and get some guys a little bit of a breather so that they are fresh for that fourth quarter. Now, I haven't talked to Boston about it, and I'm sure he would say, play me 32 minutes, coach. I don't want to come out, right, as any player would. But I think I've got to do a better job. And I know you guys have said to me the last couple of games, we've got Vince on the bench, we've got Johnny Wilson on the bench. And right there just sort of tells me, I mean, I'm for whatever reason too focused on what's happening on the court, and we've got to rotate those guys in so that so that we can really be fresh in that fourth quarter. Again, just looking at the stats, we had 13 shots, they had 14 shots, so it's not like turnovers were a big deal. Although there were a couple of turnovers that were unfortunate. There was one turnover. We had a baseline out of bounds play, and John Wilson had come off of a screen by John Fackel, and John Wilson tripped over John Fackel's foot, and Michael threw it to him, and it went out of bounds. So there were some unfortunate turnovers, but Poughkeepsie had a few turnovers as well. But just it seemed like they were fresher in that fourth quarter, shooting 9 for 14, and we just struggled, only shooting 4 for 13. They were 3 for 4 as well from the 3-point line in that fourth quarter. So that kind of was the difference, unfortunately. Like I said, we're up 4 points going into the fourth quarter against Poughkeepsie, but they're just not able to close it. And I think in part, I've got to do a better job of keeping guys fresh so that in that fourth quarter, we are firing on all cylinders and guys have a ton of energy, as opposed to being a little bit tired and dragging a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. I think we just got to keep working, and these kids, listen, these kids. The great thing about this team is they don't having some tough losses. They don't give up. They don't quit. They don't point fingers. They just kind of keep playing, and they the effort is always there, 100%. It always translate to a win. No, but it's okay. They're getting people and players as well.
It is such a good group. I think you bring up a good point, and you brought up a good point. A couple of minutes ago that when we get an open look to shoot, if you're a shooter and you've got an open look to shoot, you've got to let that ball go. And in past years with this program and teams that I've coached, it's been the opposite. It's been guys in our team just forcing up shots and being very selfish. So it's sort of a nice change to have a very unselfish group where guys are passing up open looks, but you need that balance, right? You can't have selfish players. You can't have guys just forcing up shots where they've really got no business shooting. But by the same token, if you're a shooter and you've got an open look, you've got to let it go. But this is a really, really, really nice group of kids we have. I don't think we've had a single issue really all year long with any complaints, any playing time complaints, any parent complaints. It seems like everybody's all in and doing the best that they can and giving us, every ounce of energy that they've got. And it is just a pleasure and an honor to coach these 14 guys that we've got on our team. It's a really good group.
I would definitely agree. And I think, our pregame before Poughkeepsie, I felt like we did a good job just kind of conveying to the kids, obviously we play to win, right? And we play to win a basketball game. But what we as coaches really, really want to see is just effort and positivity and approaching the game with confidence. And I felt like they did a really good job with that against Poughkeepsie, and it didn't go our way. But a couple shots taken away from them and a couple more of our shots falling, makes that game a different story. But you're right. Sometimes our guys are almost like too quiet and too never causing issues. But it's a good group of kids.
It really is, yeah. I don't know. All right, so that puts a wrap on the weeks. We were able to beat Ramapo at home 60-46. And then we went to New Rochelle, lost 78-34. They really blitzed us, but again, really, really proud of how we came back with the energy and played well against Poughkeepsie, even though we lost 61 to 54. So this week coming up is a quiet week, Regents Week, where a lot of the kids are coming in and taking Regents exam, especially the juniors. Got a lot of juniors on our team, and I think they have their English exam on Tuesday. I'm proctoring one of those classes, but we get an opportunity to practice tomorrow on Martin Luther King Jr. Day at 11 a.m. and then we'll practice Tuesday at 5:30, Wednesday at 7:30. Thursday, team pictures for the yearbook. Those are at 3:30, and then we practice 8 to 9:30. And then Friday, after that, full week of practice, 4 days of practice, we host Spring Valley. So that's going to be another difficult game, similar to the Ramapo game where we beat them earlier in the year. So now can we beat them again on our home court and get ourselves back to 500? We're 6-7. We keep sort of toggling back and forth between one game over 500, 500, one game under 500. So hoping on Friday at 6:30 against Spring Valley, we can play well and come out with a win. And then, Saturday we've got practice again. So that's the week ahead for us. Any final thoughts from you, gentlemen?
I was just gonna say, if there's any students tuning into this, like let's get a bigger student section at Friday's game. We need the energy. Sometimes I think our student section is not big enough, not loud enough. So rally the troops and let's get it. Let's pack the stands for Friday's game. Support the boys.
Yeah, I would love to see that too. Just as a former John Jay student, I could remember when they used to call the John Jay gym the House of Noise. I'm not joking about this. We had a big banner up, and it was the House of Noise, and it was so loud. It was a really, really tough gym to play in, but yeah, unfortunately, I think it might have been in that Ramapo game where like the starters were being announced. I even turned to the two of you and said something like, "It feels like we're in the library as opposed to the gym," So yeah, I would love to see the students come out and support the guys on the team, and would love to have them bring the energy just like our guys are doing. So yeah, if you're not doing anything Friday night, please, please, please get out and support the team. It's a really good group. The guys play so hard, right? We're not undefeated at 13-0, but a 500 team isn't that bad. And if we could, get some energy from our home crowd, maybe we can make a little bit of run in sectionals. The Poughkeepsie coach did say to me after the game, he said, "Man, you guys are a really good team. You guys played really well." And he said these words: "I would not want to face you in sectionals." Now, of course, he's a different class. We're AAA. They're below us there, but so there's no chance of us facing Poughkeepsie. But just gives you an indication of just how good we are and how hard our players play. And I think, us as coaches and them as players, it's frustrating when we lose those close games to a team like Poughkeepsie where, man, we were so close and we knew we could have won. But yeah, get that student section filled for us on Friday night and be loud, be proud, be respectful, but really cheer our guys on. We'd really appreciate that. Good call, Coach Betcher. Good call.
But
All
just
right,
tell
gentlemen. Well,
them catch them at Arlington, and they always come. So maybe they come to know whatever reason.
That's a good point. Yeah, that is a good point. Yeah, listen, Jay Ketchum and Jay Arlington games. I mean,
Yeah.
always huge rivalries. Yes. All right, gentlemen. Well, listen, you guys enjoy the rest of the weekend here. Enjoy the snow, and we'll get back at it next weekend. Go Patriots.
See you
Take care,
guys.
Yep. Have a good night.
See ya. Enjoy the rest.